That was new. That was cool.
I know.
I started my whole hey everybody, and then another piece of video started playing. So, oh my goodness, Dave, is my mic okay? As you can tell, I am in the office, so I'm rolling with low tech today. Oh, Jeff just vanished and came back. So our special guest. Okay, you are hop back in. We have a very exciting little community stand-up for you today. So exciting that I actually haven't finished copy-pasting all of David's links into the list of links yet, which is how you know I'm doing really, really well. I know the new intro is fire, Andreas. I agree. No, this isn't a Blue Yeti. This is by Tonor. I got this as a speaker gift from a conference, and it's been very helpful. It's my work mic now.
Are you doing conferences behind my back, Maddy?
No, this was from pre-COVID, this conference. It was a pre-COVID remote conference. So I know. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, I see a lot of familiar faces. Hello from Spain. Hello from Canada. Hello from St. Louis. Hello from India. Oh, St. Louis was you. Not fun. Cool. Very exciting. We have a lot of things going on in Maui land right now. Dave and I have spent all week frantically planning very exciting things that we can't tell you about yet because they're exciting, but that's what makes it good. And so this community stand-up we skipped last month for a couple of reasons, so thank you for coming back and joining us. One of the reasons we skipped last month is because David and I were on a whirlwind 5-day European, not vacation, but tour, I would say, where we actually got to meet a lot of you. So for those of you who are in the chat who we had the chance to meet when we were in Cologne, Germany, and drank some Kolsch with us, hi, thank you. You would have come to Zam Expert Day Presents .net Maui, which was wonderful. And for those of you who came to Sweatug or .net Front End Day or joined in remotely on .net Front End Day, we were in Stockholm for a little bit, and that was awesome, and we had a great time. And it's always really, really refreshing and reinvigorating to get to see a lot of you people in person and like get your opinions on things without a chat. And so thank you, of course, for showing up and supporting the organizers of those conferences. They were all amazing. As always, I can't wait to do more. I know Dave will be at Techorama in the spring in Belgium, so that's cool. So anyways, let's hop into it. Let me see if our special guest is coming back, but I don't know. He will come back.
He's got another 24 minutes ish.
Yeah. So today, by the way, if you didn't tell by the title of the demo of the stand-up, the demo will be more Upgrade Assistant. So Jeff works on the Upgrade Assistant tool, and he has been working on the support for Mac, which is great. And he has
Very
a demo.
exciting. I've been waiting for it.
Me too. So I am on one monitor, so I'm going to pull StreamYard out into a different browser window. And then I'm going to copy paste this. And then I'm going to quickly go through. So there were about a bajillion blogs that have come out in the past 2 months because we skipped last month. And so what I want to do today, because Dave has a lot of PRs, I want to let him talk in packages and stuff. He has a lot of cool stuff. I just want to quickly show you some of the places I go to find blogs before the community stand-up. Some of the ones I like. So you can go and search for things on your free time, if you so desire. But a lot of our control vendors have really amazing blogs, and those they all have Maui tags. Obviously, we have our dev blog for Microsoft, and then there's various different Twitters and things that you can also see. So let me just share my screen. We'll do that quickly, and then we'll turn it over to Dave. And while Dave talks, I will add all the links to the list of links I just sent so you can follow along. Because I'm great. I know exactly what I'm doing. Share screen. My taskbar is open. You can see that I actually used Notepad today for the first time in a long time. And that was chaotic. Oh, Jeff just joined back. Jeff, I'm going to add you to the stream. Hello.
All right. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? you. I was just about to start going into blogs. So Jeff, we'll let you introduce yourself when you start talking. But Jeff is cool, and I'm excited to have him. And thank you for taking the time. So
Welcome.
this is quick StreamYard inception. And then back to this. I apparently labeled this March 2024, which I thought was very funny. It is not March 2024. Quickly.
Are you sharing, Maddy?
Yeah. Am I not doing the right thing in StreamYard? That's possible.
Maybe. Because I'm not seeing it here or on the YouTube. Okay, there we go.
There's StreamYard. 2023. Thank you. First and foremost, if you didn't see, .NET 8 Preview 1 is out. Whoa! It's only March. .NET 8 is coming out. Look at this .NET bot in a race car. And there is MAUI stuff in it, so check it out. There's a bunch of other stuff in it, so check it out. .NET 8 will not ship until, of course, November. When all the .NETs ship, .NET 8 is going to be an LTS release, so that's cool. But we're working on it. There's a lot of cool stuff. If you want to use it with Visual Studio, you want to use 17.6 Preview 1, which is the preview channel of Visual Studio. So cool. Definitely check it out. We tried to define cloud native in this blog, which I thought is funny because I don't know what cloud native means. So I'm glad someone on the .NET team does because it's not me. Yeah, here's your little MAUI sentence. So
17.6 Preview 1 will work for a bunch of things, but don't get your hopes super high for Net 8 Preview 1 MAUI to be an awesome experience there. We're working on that.
It's Preview 1.
It's Preview 1. So
if you remember MAUI Preview 1, you will be pleasantly surprised. So, yes. And that kind of gives my first thing, like, where do I look for blog posts? I go to the .NET blog and I go to the MAUI tag. Most of this is written by the MAUI team, but we've actually started opening it up to guest posts occasionally. So reach out if you're interested in it. Leo Marie, the author of Ask Xami, which is a very, very popular Xamarin blog, she has actually written a really cool blog that we're going to get out in the next couple weeks. And through that, I have learned how to do guest post stuff. So I actually know how it works now. So if that's something that you're interested in, we're obviously like pretty selective with it because it is the .NET Microsoft blog. So we have to be kind of not strict, but we have to think a little bit more before we just start throwing things out here. But just heads up, because I know many of you are very awesome bloggers. Also wanted to call out, I'm sure Gerald will show up in the chat at some point because he always does. Media Element in the community toolkit, if you haven't heard. Very exciting. Whoa. So check it out. Lots of good stuff here. He actually goes into what we did under the hood and stuff, which is nice. Of course, he has a YouTube video. Look at how tan he is in this video. Where was he? Jeez, Gerald. I can't watch the chat because I'm on one monitor, so hopefully you guys aren't heckling me too much, but that's fine. Sweet. And then I will show 4. There are many more than 4, but I will show 4 active blogs from control vendors in particular that talk about various parts of MAUI, including their support for MAUI, but they also have people on their team that write just about MAUI in general and doing things. I didn't want to show like individual people's blogs because there are so many of you. It would be mean to only pick a few. But if you have a blog, feel free to plug it in the chat. I would love to add that to my fancy list of places to look for blogs. So 1, DevExpress. They are pretty good about publishing roadmaps. They just published one yesterday, which is why this popped up. But they have a mobile UI for MAUI. They talk about material design stuff they do. It's pretty active. Visual Studio Hot Reload support. So cool. DevExpress is a long-time .NET friend, as is. SyncFusion. SyncFusion's blog, I find has a lot of not SyncFusion specific stuff, which I do like. These are not sorted. These are not sorted. And there's more than this because they keep popping up in my thing. Maybe the MAUI tag is not the right way to look at this. My bad. But yeah, definitely check out the SyncFusion blog. Search for it. You'll see it pop up. There we go. Like Leo Marie, easily replicate a card checkout UI in .NET MAUI. validating sign-up forms. So there are some good just tips and tricks. There's also other things that Syncfusion does, like Angular. So you're welcome to peek at that. What tag is this under? Let's see. Let's investigate a blog together. Oh, ASPX. I wonder what this website's built with. Okay.
Web browsing with Maddy Montaquila.
It's a party. Always a party here. Tags, .NET MAUI. Oh, I see what I did. It's supposed to be net-MAUI, not MAUI. That was my bad. I knew I had done this before. So cool. I will fix the link on the URL list. GrileKit, we had them come on and demo stuff before. Really awesome. They also blog. So just check that out if you were interested. I would definitely go back and watch the like UX Divers GrileKit community stand-up we did where they showed their cool like build a UI thing. It was very awesome. And then of course Telerik, they have a bunch of stuff, but most importantly of this is our good friend Sam's Sands of Maui blog, which he is coming up on 100 of. Sam, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you got to do something. There's got to be a party.
Something special.
Yeah. And he rounds up a lot of blogs and major things happening in Maui. So this is a good place to check. Sometimes when I am falling behind on blogs, I look at this and I copy many of them, and then they point me to other ones. So like this is Maui Blazor desktop UI practices, all the things. He also shouts out David in this one talking about the Visual Studio 16 preview 1, 17.6 preview 1 blog that David tweeted about because it has .NET MAUI support on ARM.
Very cool.
Very
Works
cool.
great inside of Parallels on M1, M2s, as well as ARM Windows devices.
Yep.
Super special on the Mac, of course, because your Mac build host is right there.
Yep.
So it's pretty slick.
It's really nice. It's really nice. There are definitely things that are not totally working. We are aware. It is preview. Zoom in. 1. The way that Visual Studio works is like the first 3 previews we get to put fun stuff in, and then the next 3 previews we're basically not allowed to ship anything that isn't a bug fix. So previews like 4, 5, 6 are where all the stability magic happens. Just so you know. Sometimes we get exceptions, but it's not often because they want us to ship good quality code. Believe it or not. So I am going to stop sharing. You're going to have StreamYard's Inception for 1 second. Sorry.
Oof. You got a question there from some guy named Alex Blount.
Alex Blount. Hi, Alex. We miss you.
He's asking, when will we get leg support?
It's a great question. I can't commit to anything at this time. Oh, and thanks for the raid, Jeff Fritz, C# Fritz looks like he raided. So hi everyone. Did Linux desktop make it on the roadmap yet? No. Good question, Brave Cobra 2. Not Brave Cobra 1, apparently. But we have been talking about it. It's not on our roadmap. We want to do it. We all want to do it. Keep the asks coming because we have a nice folder of people who want Linux desktop support, and the larger that grows, the easier it is for us to justify the investment. So, oh, no way, Jeff. Okay, cool. So you all should go and watch Jeff's streams because he's doing .NET MAUI stuff and Blazor hybrid stuff, and it's fun. Jeff Fritz, not Jeff Stedfast, who is here and on this stream now. So, cool. If you're in the Twitch chat, you can see all of Jeff's chats and handles. If not, it's C# Fritz. Cool. Dave, you ready to roll?
Oh, are you ready for me? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm ready for you.
All right.
I was vamping, waiting for you to share your screen, but I should have told you
were
first. Yeah.
I was paying attention to you. Sorry.
Wow, thank you. That's so sweet. Cool. I'm going to share your screen. Like I said, I'll send the links again. I'm going to finish copy pasting them in, and then I will send the link of links. So hang tight, follow along, enjoy the ride. You will have all the links for these in a minute. Hi, Justin. Here you go. You're up.
Cool. Thank you. If anybody's wondering why I don't reply to you in the Twitch chat, it's because I can only pay attention to one chat at a time, and I'm looking at the .net channel on YouTube, which is why I get to see Alex Blount's very pointed questions. So I have a lot. You see all these tabs here? Got a lot. We're not going to cover everything, but I will select some, and then around about half past the hour. How does Chris Hardy say it? Is that what's the British way? Anybody know? Nobody knows. Okay.
Doesn't he say like half two or something?
Probably
Like
something that makes
like
my
half
brain
one.
hurt. So I will, fill that time with some awesome updates for you. I was really impressed as I was kind of catching up after traveling on all the amazing libraries that you've been working on, that the community has been churning out, as well as some of the contributions. We have a ton of contributions that landed in 8.0 Preview 1, which Maddy talked briefly about. What I wanted to highlight here is there is some information, just a little bit, on what our focus is in .NET 8. I was asked on Twitter, are we going to be talking about the roadmap? This is effectively it. So, we shipped .NET 6 in May of last year. Hasn't even been a year since that GA release. And we shipped that as a stable API so that libraries, maintainers, services could start taking a bet on it, right? That it's now a supported Microsoft product. It's not going to disappear. And therefore, your investments in bringing your libraries from Framework to .NET Core would be worthwhile, right? And then, of course, in November, we shipped .NET 7, and we were able to release, full Visual Studio support across platforms for that. And we were able to also focus on introducing some of the key desktop things that were missing up to that time. So, that brings us to .NET 8. What is the most important thing for us to be doing in .NET 8? What are we hearing from customers, and what are we seeing from those who are bringing their applications, in particular from Xamarin, into .NET? And that's, hey, we really need a lot of these bugs fixed, right? We really need the whole product to not just be API stable. We need the product to be stable. And so that's the focus for .NET 8. And as you can see, this first release begins to deliver on it. So what's changed? Fix. I'm scrolling really fast. Fix, not fast enough. So tons of fixes in here. Yes, there are some known issues. You can find the installation instructions here. You can pin to older versions if you're still, of course, working with .NET 7 and you're going to install this on the same machine. But if you are a patient person, I would recommend waiting a bit, especially if you are in the midst of a production push for your .NET 7 applications. In particular, I'll share some insights into what we're seeing for .NET version adoption. MAUI is growing around 12%, upwards of 16 to 20% month over month, which is pretty stinking freaking awesome. And we're seeing growth across all of the IDEs, including Visual Studio Code, which I'm going to show a little extension here in just a second. And this month, or last month in February, .NET 7 overtook .NET 6 in terms of what everybody's using for .NET MAUI. So if you're not already moved from 6 to 7, now's your chance. It's simple. You change the 6 to a 7 and you profit. That's all it takes. All right, cool. So that's a lot of time on the .NET 8 release, but that is essentially the focus for .NET 8. What can you look for in the roadmap? You're gonna get an awesome product that you can be confident to use in the .NET 8 release, and you can start adopting it in the previews. Will there be any feature work landing in .NET 8? It's possible. There are some things that are hovering around our cut line in our backlog. They will be primarily around desktop specific things that have been missing. But otherwise, it's quality. All right, so the extension I just mentioned, and I noticed that Nikita Romanov is in the chat. Hi, Nikita. How you doing? has worked on kind of bringing what has been in the Comet extension for Visual Studio Code into kind of a more mainstream, hey, here's your extension for VS Code for doing things like, and there's a little video down here, which I will bring up. So hopefully you can see this, a little dark, but if you go to his GitHub repo, you can see it full featured. So there's a a debug release selector down here, and then a list of all of the supported devices that you can target, and then boom, you hit debug, and you're off to the races. So works great. I've been using it almost exclusively since December, and I can get pretty much all of my work done with it. I'm not perhaps doing as much complicated stuff as you are. I'm just kind of iterating on samples and quick UI experiments. But I would highly recommend checking that out. I love it on my Mac, love it on Windows. A couple of other things to note: what is in here. So of course you can use it on Windows, Mac, and Linux. On Linux, you're pretty much limited to Android as your SDK and target platform, but you can, of course, use it within Visual Studio Code. And then he actually has some extensions to improve some XAML IntelliSense and a couple of other things here. So check that out. Thank you, Nikita, for putting that together. It's pretty awesome. I love it. And I will continue using it. All right. Prism. Dan Siegel, I owe you some responses. I apologize. I see them. I will be replying to you. Thank you very much for the MAUI migration being merged into the main Prism library. So if you are a Prism developer and you need this may be the thing you've been waiting for. Maybe there's some architectural changes and things like that. So check the docs and the guidance. But very excited to see that this popular framework library has made it. This is an open pull request on the .NET SDK repo that I think is worth checking out. So workload clean. If you have ever done an installation of MAUI and you've done something in Visual Studio, but then you go to the command line and you do something and then you're like, it's lost its mind. I don't know where things are installed. What's going on? How do I reset my machine? This workload clean command that is being proposed here and worked on for .NET 8 is focused on doing just that, cleaning up your environment. You like that, Jeffrey? It's pretty exciting stuff.
I definitely like that.
I know.
I wish I had this last week.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've all got our own varieties of shell scripts and PowerShell scripts and all kinds of stuff to clean up our environments. So, Maddy, you made it. You got the list up. Good job. So yeah, check this one out. This is exciting. It's still some work in progress. It looks like it's got a couple of parts to it and everything. But excited to see that coming together. All right. Let's see here. I've got a few minutes left. I'm going to cherry pick from the stuff coming down here. In the community toolkit, our own Shane Newell from the core MAUI team has added the semantic order view to the community toolkit. So if you have the need and the desire to make sure that items are presented to screen readers, for example, in a particular order that is not the same order that it is visually or even exists in order in your XAML, right? Like, because if you think about XAML, the thing that's at the bottom of the XAML file, in some cases, is actually at the top of the screen, or it could be anywhere on the screen, depending if you're using an absolute layout. So in these cases, you need a different mechanism by which to tell a screen reader what is the actual semantic ordering of those views. So this is a very, very helpful little offering there from Shane. And actually, there was another one from Shane that I wanted to call attention to. Can I find it? Can I find it? Probably not. Okay, workload clean. He has put together a NuGet package of fixes. There it is right here. Fixes and workarounds from Pureween. So what is this? This is a set of packages, or actually it's one package with a set of different builder extensions that will add the fixes that you might be waiting for in Net 8. Okay, so what this does is these are pull requests. These are fixes that are already made. They're in MAUI, but they haven't necessarily shipped in a service release, and they might be waiting for Net 8 because of just where they exist. But you can use them today if Shane will bundle them into this NuGet package, or you could actually copy the code, of course, from the pull request into your project. This is made easier in MAUI than compared to Xamarin, for example, because of the handler architecture. It just makes it super easy to be able to patch all those native pieces at different hooks in the life cycle of those controls. It's super flexible. So, ideal world, these things all ship in the stable product on a but sometimes due to timing and constraints and other things may not come on the time frame that you want them. So this is just one mechanism by which we're trying to help everybody out and ship some fixes. I say we, Shane is. I didn't make him do this. This was Shane's idea. So thank you, Shane, for doing that. Wanted to call out just like maybe 2 or 3 more here. So Sharp UI, this is similar. Oops, I just clicked on the projects tab. I didn't mean to do that. So this is essentially, and I think this pairs up super well with the .NET Meteor extension because you can do this fluent syntax C#. So of course we have the .NET Community Toolkit markup. And just like that, these are a set of C# extensions, but this takes a slightly different approach. So it is a bit more opinionated in terms of, hey, let's just go ahead and rename some of the controls to what we prefer them to be. And then this is an interesting way to set some of the properties for VStack in a fluent way up top, as opposed to what you would normally do with the markup extensions in the community toolkit, where they would end up being way down here. I personally like that because then, contextually, it's where you want it to be. Some of these things are limitations of the C# language. And so who knows, maybe we could see some of those things improved in the future. But if you're looking for kind of a more full set of Fluent-like extensions to build your UIs in C#, check this one out. I think this is a really good option. And on that similar note, there is the MAUI Reactor project. And this has recently, I don't know, was there a blog post on this? There was a blog post, or maybe it was just a tweet. But this has gone GA. So has worked through many pre 1.0 releases. And I know that he's been using it for his own projects, and maybe some of you have been using it. I would love to hear your experience on this. But it's also a C# first approach, kind of more inspired. Let's see if there were any code samples here. There might be some documentation. There's a whole video where he introduces it to everybody. Well, let me just click into a sample so you can see this. He actually converted some of my projects, like the Weather 21 project. And if I just go into a page here, like settings page, then you can see that there's some state because it's kind of more of a Flutter React JS inspired pattern. But you've got a render method, and that's where you're going to actually build your UI. And then you can, of course, consolidate. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know GitHub did that. That's what happens. You can then consolidate your UI into methods. Everything's basically a method. And then you can use Fluent syntax like that. So XAML, obviously, super awesome way to go. We love XAML, but I'm finding more and more there's a lot of appetite in the community for C#, and so wanted to make sure that you saw some of that. A lot of other things here, so many, there's SVG libraries now, so if you need to bring some SVGs at runtime into your project, you can do that there. Our favorite Frenchman, maybe not our favorite Frenchman. I guess that would be, we got a lot of Frenchmen in the community. I don't want to bias anybody, but he does like the, gosh, I just lost my train of thought on the
Sharpnado.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think of the show anyway.
Oh, Monty Python?
Thank you, Monty Python.
My God.
I know.
Hey, quick question. Reactor UI, does that use MAUI core?
Well, I mean, everything's using MAUI core, but it's actually wrapping the or using the MAUI controls themselves.
Oh, okay, cool.
So to Maddie's question, what we're talking about is those of you using .NET MAUI straight up, you are using essentially the controls that have the same functionality that was in Xamarin Forms. So they know how to do data binding and things like that. And all the events and the life cycles are, of course, very similar, though updated, right? MAUI core is a layer below that, where it is literally just one-to-one, set a property on the native control, set a property on the native control, do the native thing. And it doesn't really have any other dependencies or knowledge or features. It's super straightforward, right? And so if you were to want to build, and this is what Comet does, and I think perhaps Fabulous might be doing this too, I'm not entirely sure, but you can go directly to using MAUI core as the native API for doing UI. And then you could build all your control framework on top of that. So it might be smaller, it might be more performant. It would be more akin to what Jonathan Peppers did back around December timeframe with his Spice experiment, where he went directly to C#, just right to the native controls, and kind of bypasses everything else. In that case, he didn't use MAUI core, but would have gotten basically the same results if he had done that.
Yeah, he
All right,
didn't know
lots of
MAUI
other
core
cool stuff.
existed, which is why I wanted to bring it up, because people on our team didn't even know what MAUI core did. So I wanted to make sure that y'all know we have that. It's very cool.
Well, and the reason we did it, right, was so that we would give a lot more flexibility to the community to kind of leverage the really common stuff that we're all using and doing without taking on perhaps some of the extras that is in MAUI as a product, right? So if all you want is the native UI controls, but in a C#.NET space, then MAUI core is the dependency you can take, and you can vamp on that and build really, really cool stuff. But yeah.
Quick question
lots
from
of other
Eddie
cool stuff
in the chat. Is there a performance difference in C# or XAML UI?
There is. Of course, performance kind of comes down to a lot of factors. How you're constructing your UI, what life cycle events you're kind of tapping into, and things like that. What how you're handling asynchronous tasks and dealing with your data loading and things like that. If you were to benchmark straight up a one-to-one example of building something in C# and then doing the exact same UI and workflow and everything, or data flow and everything in XAML, even using compiled bindings and compiled XAML, which is the default now anyway, there would be a slight difference in favor of C#. Is it going to make a difference for your applications? Probably not. So I think really the choice between these two comes down to your preference in tool sets and in tooling support. Like how simple or how complicated do you want it to be? And is C# UI, the patterns that are around that, do they make sense for your application? Because at the end of the day, you're probably still doing MVVM across the board, unless you're using something like the MAUI reactor that does kind of implement its own flavor of MVU.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. All right. That's enough of us. I said 1:30. I'm only 7 minutes late. That's good. That's good for us.
Well, I
We're
think
gonna
I
turn it over
late. It's my fault.
to Jeff, who I don't know if you know you're muted, but you're muted just in case you didn't know.
Yep, I know.
Okay, good. Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself and then just hop right into it, and I will just sit
Sure. What kind of intro should I give?
Who are you? What do you work
How
on?
long have you been working on these products?
Yeah.
Because you've been doing this a while.
Yeah, so I guess the beginning, I guess we could say, was 2011, joining Xamarin, doing Mono Touch at the time, and Mono Android. Mostly working on Xamarin Studio, or Mono Develop at the time, which is now Visual Studio for Mac. Did a lot of the iOS integration. That's mostly what I did. So I've been working on that for a long time. There's probably a lot of people that have heard of me from MimeKit and MailKit. So those are my big side projects.
Rich in the chat just called it out.
Yep.
MailKit. Congratulations. That's cool.
Nice. So yeah, those are my side project, which kind of stem from very early on in my career doing basically an Outlook for Linux. So evolution in the GNOME world. So yeah, that's where my love and obsession with email comes from.
You're the only one.
Yeah, luckily I'm the only one. So yeah, so okay, so we should probably dive into the upgrade assistant stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to help out the MAUI team, and one of the things they needed was some work on the upgrade assistant to try to help migrate Xamarin Forms to the new MAUI stuff, and migrate people's code bases to that. So I guess the upgrade assistant has existed for a few years, or at least a year. I just recently got involved with it in January, so I'm pretty new to it. But the first thing I did was a couple fixes, but the big thing I did obviously is the Mac port. So I ported it to Mac OS. Right now we're only really supporting the Xamarin Forms to MAUI upgrade path. The upgrade assistant handles migration from .NET Framework to .NET Core is mostly what it's doing, but it does a lot of Windows, WinUI, WinForms, Windows Forms, WCF, Visual Basic upgrades, all that kind of stuff. But most of those, even though I kind of got them working in the unit tests and everything else, we're not enabling that, as far as I know, for officially on the Mac, because we haven't put a whole lot of effort into that.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who would be trying to upgrade their WinForms app on a Mac.
Yeah, probably not. But some of the other, other stuff, maybe Razor, WCF, that might be something that some people are interested in down the road. I don't know if Microsoft is going to be into doing that Mac port, because I know they've got I don't know if everyone knows yet or not, but there is a newer upgrade assistant that is being worked on as part of Visual Studio, I think. So
yeah,
that is the future. But anyway,
and by the way, all of you, I'm going to send the link to a survey after Jeff's demo, and you have a lot of opportunity to shape what that new tool is going to look like. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Cool tease.
All right. So should I share my screen?
Yes,
here?
please.
I guess I can do present.
Yep. And then share screen, and then I will pop it up. And if at any point you need me to just pop it out without you unsharing it, I can do that.
Oh, okay. So, awesome. All right. I'll
yes.
do that. And let's see here. Don't show tips again.
Yeah. Lance. Hi, Lance. And for those of you who don't know, Lance and I are actually almost neighbors. And we found this out at a conference in Boston where we were like, I live right by here. But Lance says WinForms is still hot. It is still hot. WinForms is hot. But WinForms on a Mac, probably not.
All right. So it's asking me for some sort of like privacy concern thing here.
Are you on a Mac right now? Oh, well, you should be, right?
Yeah.
If you have to kill and reopen Chrome,
all
that's
right,
fine. We'll vamp for a few seconds.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like I might have to do that.
So everybody needs to go to Spotify and check out Big Rav. Maddy released a single with her band Big Rav, and you need to check it out. It's pretty lit. It's pretty exciting. And there might be some rogue videos of Maddy and
I'm gonna kill you. Welcome back,
Carl
Jeff.
Franklin.
All right, I am back.
Performing in Stockholm.
Try this again
with Chip.
Yeah,
Franklin
Chip,
Brothers.
The Franklin Brothers band. So, thanks, Jeremy, and thanks everybody. It's been really nice to see everybody be into it. David's daughter, also named Maddy, but Maddy with an IE, and she goes by Maddy Rose. That's her real name. She released an EP, and it's beautiful. It is completely different than the stuff I put on the internet. Hers is about how much she loves her parents and like her childhood was beautiful and filled with memories. Mine's like, I hate everybody. The world sucks. So different.
The two
vibes.
Maddies in my life. All right,
Yeah.
Jeffrey's.
All right, here we
All
go.
right.
I
I think I've got it all set up now. So
look at that.
I'm not sure if people are familiar with. Maybe I should walk people through how I go about running a sample app through Visual Studio here. So in this project here, if anyone else wants to try running this from my pull request, which I think Maddy is going to link to because it hasn't been merged yet to main. So what I do is I come in here, come down to configurations. I usually just clone the default and then edit some options. So I can, let's see here. If I open this up, can you see the project properties, or is that, oh, that's not showing up, probably because it's a different window. All right. That's a shame. But anyway, all right. I guess I'll write up some instructions on how to do that if people have questions on how to do that. But basically, you want to use non-interactive as the argument. That speeds up the process a little bit. Otherwise, you have to answer like a million questions when running this upgrade assistant. But I guess I'll start by migrating a coffee app. David, is this yours or who's?
Probably James's.
Oh, that's right. It's James Montemagno's. So this is the one I did a lot of testing on. So, but yeah. And it just, so non-interactive mode will just run through all the things, just selecting the defaults. Generally speaking, the only thing you really need to do anyway is pick the entry point. So it's installing MAUI workloads here, and then does all sorts of, and there's just so much spew that I don't know what to mention here, but it basically converts your, it goes through all your projects. So typically the Xamarin Forms projects will have a Android project, an iOS project, and kind of like a core project. And so it upgrades all of them and, converts them to the .NET SDK style projects. Sets the newer Net 7-Android, Net 7-iOS target framework monikers and all that kind of stuff. Goes through your XAML and updates the namespaces. Does a few other fixes. I think we're trying to figure out more things to do there that would be helpful. It goes through the source code, tries to upgrade your namespaces to use the MAUI namespaces instead of the Xamarin Forms namespaces. It'll do things like, simple code fixes. If you subclass like Xamarin, I'm not sure, Xamarin.forms. What's the shell? There's a shell and it converts that into the MAUI shell and make sure, does simple things like that. I think there's other code changes that I think we're working on, but those are the kinds of things it does. Hopefully it did not hang. I've noticed it hangs sometimes.
So this is just a straight up Xamarin Forms app that you're migrating, right?
Yes. Okay. This is, I think, James Montemagno's site. His GitHub page has a project called My Coffee App, and that's what this is. I have another one too called Art Auction.
The Art Auction app.
Yep, but I don't remember where that one's located on GitHub. It's one of the sample apps, I think.
Yeah, that one's in a few places. I think Alex Blount probably has a copy of it on his GitHub. Squeaky has one, but I think it was actually originally made by Kim Philpotts.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking this has hung somehow.
Yeah.
It looks like it's hanging. I don't know why.
It's a demo. It's in a PR.
Yeah,
That's why it's in the PR still.
Yeah, exactly. I had it working, and then I cleaned up the project and reverted it back, and then so that I could rerun the exact same upgrade, and
I mean,
now
maybe
it's hanging. Obviously,
Control C and run it again.
Maybe
that might just work.
Sure, try it. Part of the QA process should always be going on a live stream and doing it, right? Because you'll always find something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, I did find a bug this morning when I went to go do it, and so I quick fixed that. But I was not getting this hang. So
well, we are seeing. We had a meeting earlier today where we were reviewing kind of where things stood with the migration upgrade assistant, and we are seeing a lot more successes in the sessions that are run. So if this is something you have used in the past but have not tried one of the latest builds, grab the latest one and give it another go. You may, we expect, have much greater success. And then after you're done running it, fill out Maddy's survey that she'll share.
Yeah, and tell us about the hang that we just saw.
Yeah, seriously. Lance, I saw in the chat you're looking for the link. I'm sending it in 1 second. I will send the link specifically to this PR for those of you who are interested, as well as the list of links again.
Did you ask Eddie's question about the
assistant?
assistant?
Yeah, Eddie's question. Good question. Does the assistant create the new platform style folder structure? Because as we all know, a single project is litty.
It does not yet, because we don't have the single project migration feature implemented yet. So that was actually on my plate to do before porting to Mac OS, and then we thought that porting to Mac OS was the higher priority of the two.
Yeah.
So
this is a good time to plug my survey, which has a checkbox that you rank, or a ranking question.
Yep.
In which one of the options is single projectify. So I'm going to send that. So you guys can start filling that out like on the side, but we still have 10 more minutes for you to ask questions and show whatever Jeff is showing. Is it hanging again? It looks
it's
like
probably hanging again.
That looks pretty cool. What is the NuGet step doing? I get a lot of questions about that.
So,
I do know what the NuGet step is doing.
The NuGet step, what it does is it goes through and it looks at your NuGets and it says, oh, okay, they're using Xamarin Forms Community Toolkit. They should be using the MAUI Community Toolkit instead, because that's the equivalent package. Does similar things. And it goes through and it tries to basically upgrade all of your NuGets. So if you're using an older version of a NuGet that you chose to use for Xamarin Forms, but the latest version supports MAUI, it'll upgrade that to the latest version. It'll do swap-ins for certain things that we know about. That's like, okay, well, it used to be for the Xamarin Forms, it was called this, and now the new package is called something else. So it'll do that kind of upgrade for you. There's a huge mapping that I've seen in there. So I didn't work on the mapping, but I saw it in there. It's pretty big. But there's definitely going to be some that aren't going to be that we don't have a mapping for. So maybe we'll get some suggestions.
Definitely.
Now, MIMEKit and MailKit, they support MAUI. So
wow.
Well, they ship with Net6 support, so
there you go.
Which will just work since there's no UI done in MIMEKit and MailKit. So.
Yeah, and if folks are wondering, how do I figure out what NuGet packages are compatible? Is there any guidance around that? Yes, there is. I dropped a link to the documentation that we recently released. I want to say it was like early February. We put a new version of documentation out for upgrading Xamarin Android, Xamarin iOS, and Xamarin Forms applications. And it includes some guidance on how to determine which NuGet packages are compatible. as well as what are the differences that you need to be aware of between your Xamarin Forms and your MAUI projects. Because, converting them, upgrading them, putting the code where it needs to be is one thing, but there are some improvements to MAUI that will make your app look perhaps slightly different.
Where's that link?
Learn.microsoft.com. Hang on, I'll just repaste it.
I don't think you can paste into the window to the YouTube
I
chat.
absolutely can. I'm a moderator.
Oh, well, I don't see it, so you're lying.
Pasted it there, but I'll also paste it to you.
I'll copy it. I'll copy it. I got you. Chat, baby. We know how to be live. So what questions do people have for Jeff while we have him?
Yeah, shoot me some questions.
Yeah.
Going from Rich.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Rich. So does Upgrade Assistant support deep linking and background fetch changes? Or will it when/if background fetch makes it to MAUI? So Dave, is that coming to MAUI? No, right?
No, so we don't have any specific work around background fetching. And support for deep linking is something you can implement yourself, but it's not something in any way that the Upgrade Assistant is going to do anything about, right? So if you already have it in your Xamarin app, the Upgrade Assistant isn't messing around with your code. You may need to rewire some things because the entry port of your application is slightly different. But again, it's also not single projectifying your applications. So if you do, of course, encounter issues with upgrading a project that does have deep linking and background, things happening, and it gets dropped on the floor because the Upgrade Assistant doesn't know what to do with it, let us know about that so we can make sure that we account for it.
Yeah. Leibowitz in the chat says Shiny is the way. True. And Shiny has MAUI compatible packages, does it not?
Is everybody just going to start saying everything is the way these days now that The Mandalorian season 3 is on?
I still haven't seen the trailer, so no spoilers.
I'm still not on board with. I want to like the series. I can't get there.
You're not cool enough. I'm sorry.
And I love Muppets. I love Jim Henson. I love the whole deal. But come on.
We're gonna take that offline. I have to get mad at you about that comment. Anyways, Jeff.
I'm a Farscape fan, big Farscape fan. But come on. What's going on?
So what happens when there isn't match that can be honored in the migration? I'm guessing
Jeffrey's on task. He's on task.
Is this about the NuGet packages?
Yeah.
Is that what you guys read this to be?
I read this as NuGet packages. Lance, feel free to verify. Oh, code. Oh, like code, if we can't find and replace the code, you mean? So Jeff, start with NuGet packages because that is interesting, and then we'll get some clarification.
Okay, so if we don't know about a NuGet package, I think we just leave it alone. So it is what it is. Your project may not compile after the migration assistant runs or the upgrade assistant runs because it's referencing an old NuGet that maybe doesn't support MAUI. But so that's going to be one of the steps that you're going to have to look into after running the upgrade assistant to do manually. But and I don't think there's anything we can do about that if we don't know about it. As far as code, if you're not using the Xamarin Forms, classes or something else like that, we can swap around for, the MAUI equivalent, then probably there won't be any changes. Yeah. So we use Roslyn for all that. So it should find and replace the correctly named or correctly, correct types and identifiers in the code. So
yeah, what it's not going to do is, if you have, because it mentions handlers. So if you have custom renderers or effects, it's going to touch those up to make sure that they're using the right types, like Jeffrey just said. Right. It is not going to move that code from a renderer into a handler architecture because you don't need to. because that pattern of the renderer is still supported in .NET MAUI, and behind the scenes, it's actually using handlers. So you don't need to do any code rewriting of your renderers. And that's also something that's in the documentation. It shows you how to wire up your renderers to be used in MAUI.
Cool. Yeah, Lance has a cool point that, he can build his own custom Roslyn analyzers for rules that we don't know, especially, in specific packages and stuff. And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. We should talk about that, bro.
He makes it sound so easy, though.
I know. Just write Roslyn.
Everybody kind of says these things,
Yeah.
But,
so Leibowitz followed up in the other chat, in YouTube and Twitch. It's hard because you both can't see the other if you're in YouTube or Twitch, but I can see both. So I constantly just. Matt asked, "What if I'm a control author and have a new MAUI version? Can I add an analyzer somewhere to allow upgrades to work?" Where would you add that? Could you submit it as a PR?
That's, I think that's a kind of a good idea. The .NET Upgrade Assistant is extensible. I know that. But I'm not sure. I've never, I haven't written an extension to it that didn't already exist. So I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's how easy that is to do, or where or how you'd go about doing it. Because I'm not sure the .NET Upgrade Assistant would necessarily look inside a NuGet package for any extensions. But that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Cool. And Marco's in the chat. Marco is one of our engineering leads, who is working on this stuff.
Yep, Marco's my boss. He tells me what to do. Did Maddy just hang?
That's funny. I was like, it got really quiet for a while. We just all pondering Marco's
the upgrade assistant's not the only thing hanging today.
Well, she's the one running the whole show, so I don't know what happens now, but I will answer a couple of these other things, or we can talk about a few of the other things just real quick, although we're basically at time. Eddie had asked if the upgrade assistant is going to be prime time. Oh, good job, Maddy. When is it going to be on the Mac? The PR is there. It's green. Maybe the hang is related to the project that Jeffrey was running it against. We'll definitely look into that, but we're talking a matter of days, I would say, for this to appear. Once it's merged, then the build system kicks out a new build of the upgrade assistant. It will appear on NuGet. We will shout about it, and everybody can start using it.
Cool. Sorry about that. The office Wi-Fi almost made it. Almost made it the whole stream.
I have better home Wi-Fi than the office does.
Yeah, me too. So on that note, thank you everybody for joining. We will see you next month. Jeff's GitHub name is in that PR, and you can use that to stalk him on the internet if you want to get in touch with him.
He's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, sorry. And also the survey has a leave your email if you want to talk to us more. What's cool about our surveys, all of our surveys have like very sanitized data rules. So there's no chance of that getting like leaked or anything. The only person who can actually see your emails is me. And then I will email you. And we're gonna have, Jeff and the other people on our team working on this stuff, join calls individually with folks and listen to your problems and see what we can, sort out. And that will shape a lot of, the roadmap for this stuff because it's pretty cool. So, thank you for all who were joined. Thank you for those of you who tuned in late. This will be uploaded onto the YouTube shortly so that you can watch from the beginning. And definitely send me whatever you want to see next time. And on that note, happy March, everybody.
Cool.
Happy March. We'll see you in a month.